My name's Sophia Reed, 24 years old, raised in the gritty heart of Chicago, where the wind off Lake Michigan cuts like a knife. After 5 brutal years of grinding through college, coding until my eyes burned, juggling 3 jobs, living on stale bread and dreams, I graduated with a data science degree from the University of Illinois at Chicago. That day was supposed to be mine. My parents clapping in the front row, my little sister Mia tossing me a bouquet, all of us laughing over dinner like a real family. Instead, the 4 seats I'd saved in the packed auditorium sat empty, mocking me. I told myself they were stuck in traffic, maybe planning a big surprise. But as I stepped onto the stage, diploma in hand, my phone buzzed. It was a notification. Mom posted a photo of her and Mia on a yacht in the Bahamas, grinning under a blazing sun, captioned, "So proud of our star." My heart shattered like glass on concrete. My biggest moment, erased for Mia's vacation. If you've ever been pushed aside by the people who should love you most, tell me where you're reading this from. I need to know I'm not the only one carrying this kind of hurt. Growing up in our Wrigleyville row house, I was the responsible big sister, while Mia, 4 years younger, was the golden child. To neighbors, we looked like any other family. Dad driving trucks, Mom hosting book clubs, but inside, the favoritism was as sharp as a Chicago winter. Mia got hugs for coloring outside the lines. Mom called her our Picasso. Me? I'd bring home a math Olympiad trophy and Dad would say, "Don't show off. You'll make Mia feel small." I was 10 when Mom plopped a lopsided grocery store cake on the table for my birthday, muttering, "Sophia's too old for a big party." I forced a smile, blowing out candles alone. Months later, Mia's 6th birthday was a spectacle. Rented clowns, a piñata, a cake with her name in pink frosting. I sat on the back steps, eating a crumbling slice, wondering why my day never mattered. It wasn't just cakes. At 11, Mia broke Dad's favorite coffee mug, and I got blamed for not watching her even though I was doing homework. They scooped her up, soothing her tears, while I stood there, invisible. At 14, I earned a spot at a summer tech camp, top students only. I ran home, letter clutched tight, hoping for pride. Dad frowned. "Who's gonna help Mia with spelling if you go?" I tore the letter in half. Weeks later, Mia got picked as an extra in her school's musical, and they rented a theater box, filming her every move, posting, "Our little star." I sat in the cheap seats, clapping for a sister who barely noticed me. Those moments piled up like snowdrifts, teaching me to bury my wins. Teachers asked why I hid my awards. I'd shrug, saying I forgot. Friends wondered if my parents were proud. I'd lie, "They're busy." But alone in my room, staring at cracked plaster walls, I'd whisper, "Am I nothing to them?" College was my way out. I got into UIC's data science program on a full tuition scholarship, years of all-nighters paying off. I showed Mom and Dad the acceptance letter, expecting a hug. Dad grunted, "Good, now act like an adult." Mom, "At least you've got that scholarship." No celebration, just the weight of expectation. The scholarship didn't cover books, rent, or food, so I became a machine. At 5 a.m., I'd drag myself to a coffee shop in the Loop, brewing espresso for cranky commuters, wiping counters until my hands chapped. By 9, I'd sprint to campus, still smelling like coffee grounds, for lectures on algorithms and neural networks. Afternoons, I tutored high schoolers in math. Evenings, I coded apps for freelance gigs. My Pilsen apartment was a closet with a leaky faucet, but it was mine. I lived on instant noodles, stashing every tip in a jar labeled Future. One February, during a data modeling class, my vision blurred. The room spun and I blacked out, waking in the health center with an IV dripping into my arm. The nurse asked, "Call family?" I dialed Mom, voice trembling. I fainted. "I'm so tired." She paused, then said, "You're strong, Sophia. Deal with it." No visit, no warmth. Meanwhile, Mia flunked her SATs, and my parents sent her to Paris for a cultural year at a fashion design academy, $45,000 tuition, plus cash for croissants and designer bags. They called it her destiny. When I asked Dad for $250 for a coding textbook, he scoffed. "You're smart. Make it work." One night, bleary from a 2 a.m. freelance deadline, I saw Mia's Instagram, her in a silk scarf by Notre Dame, captioned, "Thanks, Mom and Dad, for my dream life. Farska Paris love." I was eating a stale pretzel. The unfairness wasn't just the money, it was the love they poured into her, while I got crumbs. My 5th year, extra credits pushed my tuition shortfall to $15,000. I worked triple shifts, coded until my fingers cramped, but fell short. Desperate, I called Dad. "I can't cover tuition. Can you help?" He sighed. "You're independent. Mia needs us. She's delicate." Mom chimed in. "Work full-time for a bit." I wasn't asking for a spa day, just a chance to graduate. Crushed, I signed for a $20,000 loan, the interest a chain I'd drag for years. That night, Mia posted from Paris, a candlelit birthday dinner, her wrist flashing a new Cartier watch, $8,000 minimum. Caption, "Spoiled by the best parents. Blessed." That could have paid my tuition gap. I cried into my ramen, scribbling in my journal. Why am I always the one left behind? That's when I met Elena Martinez, my data science professor. She was tough but kind, with sharp eyes that saw through my fake smiles. After I fainted in class, she called me to her office. "Sophia, you're killing yourself," she said, sliding me a coffee. I broke down, spilling years of neglect, Mia's spotlight, my empty victories. She listened, then said, "You're enough, just as you are. Don't let their blindness dim you." Elena became my anchor, checking on me, sharing her own story of growing up as the strong daughter in a family that favored her brother. She invited me to her home for Sunday dinners, tacos, laughter, her kids tugging at my sleeves. It was the first time I felt seen, not for what I did, but for who I was. Graduation loomed, and despite everything, I hoped my family would show. I saved for months, slipping tips into a jar to book a harborside Italian restaurant. Twinkling lights, pasta steaming, Lake Michigan glinting outside. I bought white lilies, my childhood favorite, and sent a group chat message, ceremony at 10 a.m., seats reserved in row B. Dinner after at 1 p.m. Please come, it's my day. No reply. I told myself they'd surprise me, maybe with flowers or a proud hug. The auditorium hummed, families waving banners, cameras flashing. My seats? Empty. I walked the stage, diploma heavy, applause hollow without their voices. My phone buzzed. Mom's post, Mia on a Bahamas yacht clinking cocktails. Caption, "Our star shines bright," and proud moment. No word for me. I bit my lip until it bled, forcing a smile for no one. Elena was there, though, in the crowd, clapping fiercely, her eyes shining. After, she hugged me tight. "This is your victory, Sophia." It was something, but not enough to fill the void. I canceled the dinner, losing my $200 deposit, and trudged to my apartment. The lilies drooped on my desk, my gown a crumpled heap. I sobbed, asking, "Why am I never enough?" Elena called that night. "Come over tomorrow, my family's throwing you a party." At her house, her kids gave me handmade cards, her husband grilled burgers, and we toasted with lemonade. It wasn't my parents, but it was love, real and warm. Days later, Mom called, "Send $900 for Mia's cruise. It cost more than we thought." I snapped. "I took out a $20,000 loan while you fund her yacht. Why is it always me?" She sighed. "You're tough. She's sensitive." Dad grabbed the phone. "Ungrateful. Want to be on your own? Fine. Don't call." The line went dead. I curled up, shattered but waking to a truth. Their love was a transaction, paid with my silence. I took a bus to my grandparents' cottage in Door County, Wisconsin, needing air. Grandma hugged me so tight I nearly broke, whispering, "You're too thin, honey." Over clam chowder and cornbread, I spilled everything. The empty seats, the yacht, the loan. Grandpa's face hardened. We've sent your parents $2,500 a month for years, for both your educations. My heart stopped. That could have spared my debt, my collapse. It all went to Mia's Paris, her watch. Grandma's eyes welled. We thought they were fair. They cut off my parents, redirecting funds to me. This is what you deserve. Back in Chicago, my parents called, raging, "You turned your grandparents against us, traitor!" I stood firm. I told the truth. You stole from me. They disowned me, screaming, "You're no daughter." A lawyer called next. My grandparents willed me their education fund and cottage, $500,000 value. Parents called again, "Thief, you'll regret this." I replied, "I regret waiting so long to speak. You betrayed us all." I hung up, a weight lifting. Elena helped me plan my next step. "San Francisco's calling you," she said, connecting me to a tech startup. I moved to a tiny Mission District apartment, the Golden Gate Bridge peeking through my window. At work, my code solved real problems. Colleagues valued me, not my sacrifices. Elena visited once, bringing her kids, and we walked the bay, laughing like family. On foggy nights, I'd reflect on the old Sophia. The girl scolded for shining, fainting alone, clutching lilies in an empty auditorium. Breaking silence saved me. My parents' world unraveled. They sold their house at a loss, moving to a cramped apartment. Mia dropped out of her Paris program, working retail, her star status dimmed. They sent emails, half apologies, half accusations. I replied once, "Until you see me as your daughter, not a bank, we're done." Elena's words echoed. Family isn't blood. It's who chooses you. She was right. I don't tell this story for pity. If you've been the strong one, dimmed to lift others, know this. You're enough. Love isn't a prize for suffering. It's your right. Cutting ties isn't loss. It's freedom. Where are you reading from? Let's stand together. No longer shadows.